Welcome to GabTalks, where we provide tools, tips, and techniques to help your life and business be easier, better, and faster. Hello, hello. How are you, everybody? Welcome to our next episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. And I am bringing to you a phenomenal expert today. I have seen him many, many times in lots of different meetings, and I know that he has such an amazing story to share with us today. He is a highly successful, highly sought after businessman that helps entrepreneurs and other business folks just like you stand out online. So, welcome to our show, Dr. Richard Kaye. How are you today?
Outstanding. Yeah. Pleasure to be here and play in your sandbox. It's fun.
I know, I'm so happy that you agreed to let me interview you. You have such an amazing background, and you and I have many, many mutual associates that I hear amazing things about you. So I would like you to please tell our audience all about you and what it is that makes you the expert that you are.
I've been teaching negotiation and business skills for well over 2 decades. How did I get there? One day someone said to me, "Why don't you teach what you do?" I said, "What's that?" They said, "You're a master negotiator." So I've been teaching that. I tell a story. I lived in San Diego. I
Mhm.
grew up in New York, moved to San Diego to practice chiropractic, and that's about 30 minutes from Tijuana. The culture in Tijuana is handling or negotiating. So I began to refine my skills, and I now teach it to people, to entrepreneurs. Someone said to me one day, "I work with solopreneurs. They don't negotiate." I said, "Excuse me?" Solopreneurs negotiate more than anyone else. So it's learning, it's doing. I love the days when I used to be on stages. Now we do it online.
On stages, tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh boy. In the days pre-COVID, I used to travel the country and be on stages at events and talk about negotiation. Everything you do, ladies and gentlemen, is a negotiation. I assert the first negotiation you have every single day is with yourself. When you get up in the morning, am I going to stay here under the sheets, or am I going to get out and have a day? That's where it begins. And most people think negotiation is just on price. That's a one-dimensional perspective of negotiation. So yeah, you
Absolutely.
used to be on stages and get the audience involved, and it's fun watching the "I get it" moments.
Those are my favorite. I totally agree with you. So
Yes.
I know that you were a chiropractor for many, many years. Tell us a little bit about your backstory and your history.
Well, going even further back, I was an electronics engineer. And yeah, I left that, got a degree, got my undergraduate degree in business management, which was interesting. Went to chiropractic school, drove from New York to San Diego, opened up a practice, and very quickly, I guess, figured out what I was doing. PBS came in, filmed a special segment. Los Angeles Times had a feature article. It was all over the news, radio, television, and then something happened. It was basically a download, and I retired and started working with entrepreneurs. And I've been working, I guess about 18 years ago, I retired and working with entrepreneurs. There was a crossover for coming up 24 years.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the download and how that transpired?
I was told to retire from chiropractic and work with entrepreneurs. It was during, I was meditating, and there's a little bit more to it, of course, but the Reader's Digest version. And I said, "Really?" And I was told yes. So 1 month later, I shut down 30-year career in chiropractic and started working with entrepreneurs.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you shared with me a few different inspirations that were very pivotal to you. Would you please share whichever ones of those you'd like to now?
I was facilitating a breakout room, and a young lady as she tells the story, said, when I heard you say you had a soul to soul conversation with your son, I needed to talk with you. Well, she was living in the UK. She's from San Francisco, was living in the UK at the time, made a 15-minute appointment for business development. The Reader's Digest version of that one, the short version, is 2 months later she moved in. That was 2 years ago. And we just got married 3 months ago. But wait, there's more. I knew she was flying into this country, coming from UK. She had rented an apartment in Phoenix, and I called her. She was at the Denver airport, and she said, I just missed my flight. I said, well, I'll pick you up. Now, that doesn't sound like much. I live in Taos, New Mexico. Denver's 5 hours away. And, was that inspired? Gab, if my mind kicked in, I said, what are you, crazy? You're going to drive 10 hours? And then another 2.5 hours round, another 5 hours round trip to get it to the Albuquerque airport. And we got married. So the point is, if you pay attention, get out of your mind and listen to your soul, your higher self, life gets pretty good, darn good.
That's amazing. Hello, hello, awesome listener. Thank you so much for joining us today at GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. We're going to take a short break and say thank you to our sponsors. It is through the generous support of these sponsors that we are able to bring to you these amazing experts that are sharing their best tips for your success. So please listen to what our sponsors have to say, and hopefully they're going to inspire you that you're going to click their links and go support them. You've all heard and you know how powerful it is to send thank you cards, notes of appreciation, and gifts that build and maintain relationships. However, writing and sending generic impersonal greetings and gifts one by one just is so overwhelming and takes so much time. Not to mention, these days, who wants to deal with lines at the post office, running out of stamps, or having to print stamps yourself? And then there's the embarrassment of missing an important date altogether. Yikes. So what can you do? If you go to marketyourbiz.guru, you will be able to get help with your greetings and gifts that are printed, stamped, stuffed, and mailed automatically for you. Make sure that you tell them Gabriella sent you.
This is Tony Stark Polici, copywriter, marketing consultant, and author. And I have a question for you. If you could take $20 and turn it into 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, would you do it? Well, you can. And it's not through gambling. It's not investing in the stock market. It's by buying this book. That's right, my book. This was voted number 9 out of the top 100 best copywriting books ever written, and I wrote it for you, for business owners, to help you write better emails, better sales copy, better advertisement, to communicate better in all of your marketing and business communications. This book will change your business and your life. Try it. You're going to love it.
So I always like to ask our guests, if you could go back to your younger self when you were in high school or college, or if you have a teenager or a college student that you could give one piece of advice to, what would that be?
The Talmud tells us we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. When we look at something or someone and have judgment on it, that's a reflection of who we are. Coupled with that is be present, be in the moment. Too many people live in the past, there are two kinds of people, what I call internal. They live in the past, making statements and decisions based on something that happens. I'm going to make this real in a moment. And then there's what's called external. These kinds of people look toward the future to see what can happen. My guess is Steve Jobs was an external. He said, we're going to build this thing called an iPhone. What's an iPhone? That's your problem, guys. You figure it out. Bill Gates, I suspect, is internal. He started here with the disk operating system, DOS, built, and now we have, Windows 7,342,000, but always building on something new. That's an internal, based on what you've done. Neither's wrong or right. It's like being one-handed and left-handed and right-handed. It doesn't make any difference. When you know the nature of how you do things, it changes how you live your life. So all that, have no expectation of outcome. That's the only way to set yourself up for disappointment. if you allow the universe to unfold. What's disappointment? The universe didn't show up the way you wanted it. Well, hello, it doesn't always happen that way. If you allow the universe to feed and nurture your soul, you'll be much happier.
I think it's interesting that you also mentioned and put certain emphasis on discovering for yourself if you're internal or external. And once you know which you are, embrace that and don't try and be something that you're not, because you can flourish if you recognize what you are and follow that path. Am I accurate in my interpretation?
Only 100%. It's like in the olden days, they took people who were naturally left-handed and forced them to be right-handed.
Right.
Can't imagine how many kids got screwed up. When you go against your own nature, I won't say you're headed for disaster. Let's say it's a lot nicer to be in your nature, and don't beat yourself up. Be who you are.
The other thing is, I talk to people all the time about figuring out your space of genius and focusing most of your attention on working there and delegating the other things to other people. And in my history and my background, when I did accounting is often the first task that a business will delegate out externally. So the concept of delegating things that you can do but aren't great at, it was very easy for me to understand. But working in your space of genius took a little figuring out. I know that's something that's an area that you're pretty good at. Do you want to talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, offload the things that you don't excel at. If it's not your genius, it's not your gift. Or you can say it the other way. If it's not your gift, it's not your genius. Do what you excel at and let other people, and you pay them to do what it is. My wife just hired somebody, a virtual assistant, to do her scheduling for her podcasts. I mean, yeah, is she good at it? Yeah, it's not her highest use of her expertise.
Right.
She's brilliant as a writer. She's a columnist for the Los Angeles Tribune. She writes. She can pay somebody to do the scheduling stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, know what your gift is and capitalize on that and engage other people in your sphere to do what's not your gift.
Absolutely. Speaking of gifts, what other advice would you like to share with us today?
I mentioned this thing on negotiation. How many times, everything you do is negotiation. Research what it is the other person, what they want out of the negotiation. And again, have no expectation of outcome. Go into a negotiation. Yeah, I used to teach 2 levels of we talked about people think price is the only thing. I used to teach go to level 2, which means I win and you win, and that's an improvement. Then I went to level 3, which is I win, you win, and our cohort wins. Now what I teach is called level 4. I win, you win, our cohort wins, and humanity wins. What would happen if every decision, every conversation, every negotiation was taking a look at the world? Play at a higher vibration, play at a higher level. Not only will it serve you, it'll serve everyone in your cohort and serves the world.
Absolutely. All right. So before we conclude the interview, is there any other pieces of advice or recommendations that you would like to share?
Yeah, be at peace. And if you haven't ever read Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now, it's profound. You come right into the moment. And his second book was Be Love Now. And it changes, at least it did for me, the way we perceive the world. We live in story, and most of our stories are not our own. They come from parents, teachers, rabbis, priests, ministers, policemen, people we don't know, didn't even like back then. They ingrain their stories in us. Make up your own story. It's much more fun.
I love it. On each episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts, we like to highlight a hero sponsor who is a business that chooses to highlight a do-good organization in their own community that is bettering the world. Today's hero sponsor is...
Hello world, this is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer and I am also a consultant from Z World Webs. Today I want to highlight Nancy's House, because Nancy's House is a nonprofit organization that breaks the isolation and exhaustion that can come with taking care of someone who is chronically ill or disabled. Nancy's House also builds a community of support and offers self-care skills with 1 and 3 day in-person respite retreats, online workshops, and much more. To learn more about Nancy's House, please visit their website at www.nancys-house.org. The link can be found in the show notes. So with that being said, my name is Z from Z World Webs, and let's develop a website Z World is waiting for.
So thank you so much for letting me have this time with you today. I know other people really need a little bit of Dr. Kaye in their lives. So where can we reach out and have people contact you? And you guys, the links will be down below in the show notes and description. So make sure you click on them. Dr. Kaye?
Real simple. My email address is rkaye@richardk.com. rk@richardk.com. Reach out. Got any questions? I'm retired from chiropractic. I serve entrepreneurs any way I may serve you, and especially if you want publicity, you want to get your message out to the world.
Can we find you on social media in Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those places?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. Just put my name in and look for the guy with the bald head, because there are a couple of people out there who may be impersonating me. Someone just did that on Facebook. I got messages like, you've been hacked, So, yeah.
And you have some pretty cool PDFs to offer to our audience. Can you tell us a little bit about those? And the links for those will also be in the show notes and in the description, you guys. So you definitely want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's a free PDF, no credit card. I've said several times, everything you do is a negotiation. Have you ever been in a negotiation and someone said, I'll have to think about that? Wouldn't you like to know how to handle that? It's going to be in the PDF. It's 5 free tips from the whole program, The Secrets of Empowering Negotiation. So you'll enter your name, your email address, and you'll download it. But
Fantastic.
I promise it won't do you any good unless you read it.
That's hilarious. You're right, because so often people will download something and then they'll stick it on a shelf and they won't even look at it. In fact, I don't even remember where I was, but I heard the funniest thing, shelf help books, because we buy self-help books and stick them on the shelf. We don't need another shelf help PDF. You guys make sure you download it and read it. It's 5 tips. So it's not like you're reading a 40-page book. But I know from talking to Dr. Kaye that it is going to be very powerful information that you're going to learn on this PDF that he's going to share with you. Make sure you scroll down below and check the show notes and click get your offer. Reach out to Dr. Richard Kaye and see how he can help you in what you're doing. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and mark the notifications so that you know when the next episode is airing. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We hope you got value today. We want to give a huge shout out of gratitude to our contributors. Please make sure you click the subscribe button below and don't forget to click the bell up above to get reminders when we add new content.